Cool Attack Nation, thank you so much for tuning in here today for an exciting episode. One that I'm sure a lot of you are kind of perplexed to be like, oh, he does exist? And yeah, he does exist. He is a man, a myth, legend that's become Big Game Boomer for sure. So Big Game, first of all, thank you so much for joining us. Really do appreciate the time today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, y'all. Hope you're all doing well this Thursday evening.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, again, before we jump into it, really make sure, again, for just as a reminder for those listening in or tuning in with us, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out whenever we release any new NC State content. Give this video a like so that way this video will get in front of more NC State fans, and also to give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram. But with that being said, the first question I got to ask is, so I know that your first name is not Big Game and your last name is not Boomer. So what is your actual name?
So my real name is John Whitaker. Cool. That's my real name. So Big Game Boomer.
Okay.
I started this whole podcast deal or Twitter deal back in 2020 of November, and that was just my username because I don't know. Bob Stoops is his nickname. He was at OU. His nickname was Big Game Bob, so I just called it Big Game Boomer. Is kind of my Twitter handle, and it's gotten so, I guess, famous that I can't really change it because everyone knows who it is. So it's no, it's cool, it's fun.
Yeah,
but yeah. My real name is John Whitaker.
Yeah,
nice to meet y'all.
Okay, John. Yeah. and he's saying that's not just us, but everybody listening doesn't sound as cool watching us.
No, it does. I was just thinking, I was like, John just doesn't have the flair.
Yeah, no, everyone calls me BGB. Hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which, I mean, that makes sense.
Like BGB.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the RG3, right? So it's BGB.
Yeah. Exactly. It's got it's got a nice flow.
So just to start off with, obviously everybody sees Boomer, and I know we were talking a little bit about it here beforehand, but just for those who didn't hear ahead of time, so we're assuming from that name that you are an Oklahoma fan. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, I went to Oklahoma. We're actually playing in the Softball World Series right now. Going to whoop up on Texas. So,
you're going to win it. Don't worry.
Yeah. That's why I took, sit down with you guys right now because I'm not worried about it. So, but yeah, I am an OU grad, OU fan. That's kind of that's who I am.
Cool. All right. And so, just to kind of start off, so what was your initial thought when you created Big Game Boomer? What was kind of the initial idea when you first started it?
So like I said, I've had it says on Twitter, I've used my Twitter account since 2012. But I've never, I never used Twitter at all until November of 2020. I took the week off of Thanksgiving. Was bored, COVID was going on. There was nothing to do. So I just started getting on my phone and just get on Twitter. And I just saw this just crazy, all this banter about, college football, people arguing this. So I got kind of in on it. And, before I know it, I'm arguing with Desmond Howard, or Matt Leinart. They're arguing with me, or Andy Staples. And so I'm just like, whoa, this is really cool. You get all this, you can just interact with famous people and stuff. And so that was November 2020. And so once the season was over in early January, I just was kind of bored. And, you see graphics and stuff all the time. So I made a list or just kind of a graphic. It was in February of 2020. It was schools with more wins than Texas over the last 10 years. And it just went crazy. A bunch of people looked at it. You start seeing fan bases from all over the place, liking it and retweeting it. And I think at the time when I started my account, I had maybe 50 followers. And now it's I think I just hit 40,000 yesterday.
Yep.
And another 45,000 on Instagram. So it's just crazy, man. It's been fun. I love it. It's just kind of a hobby. Doing these lists and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I see some of the people you also interact with. I just saw something today, Lane Kiffin retweeted out, and you've gotten into battles with Deion Sanders, and I think that's just really cool.
Yeah.
Like, that these guys are recognizing the talent that you're putting out. But my real question is why aren't you blue checked yet?
I don't know, man. I've tried to get verified, and I get denied every time. I don't know. I think you got to be with some if you're a media person, you got to be with some sort of media company, and they have the inside to hook you up. Because the numbers are there. I think I posted my a couple weeks ago. I posted my my monthly impressions for the month of May, and it was it was 50. I think it was 51 million impressions over the month of May. So the numbers are there. I think it's all about who and getting the inside to get that blue check.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I think it's very hard to get.
Yeah,
maybe we need to start a hashtag campaign, verify BGB. And maybe Twitter will show up and help you out.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I don't know.
Nice. Maybe if Elon Musk buys it, we'll hit him up.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because kind of talking a little bit about that. I've seen people with less than 1,000 followers that are Twitter verified. So it's there's not an exact formula to it. So who knows really. But yeah. So so kind of talk to me about. So obviously, I'm assuming you have a full-time job outside of it, just like you said. Like we were laughing, and you've made this joke a lot of times, saying that a lot of people think that you're just some guy just sitting at home, making lists. But obviously, this is not your full-time job. So how are you able to make these so quickly? Because there's I think today you've released probably 2 or 3, honestly. So
yeah. A lot. So I make a lot of these lists after I get my son down in the evening. So usually when I'm watching sports or something, I'll be on my couch with a laptop, just putting together these lists, thinking of ideas. I kind of have a running list of ideas in my head that I kind of come up with. And like I said, you've been in some of these chat groups that I'm in on Twitter. So there's a huge network. So I get a lot of input from a lot of different fan bases. And just while I'm on the couch, I'll put these things together, and then the next day I'll have them basically put together, and then just kind of post them throughout the day. I've been doing this for a year now, and it's just kind of it's a method, or it's just kind of a routine now. So when I get down, when I'm done with this and I'm watching the OU softball game, I'm going to be probably working on the top 50 best long snappers of this upcoming season. Just always, there's always something. Yeah.
I don't even know how you
spin rate.
Are you looking at game tape? Are you pulling up their 247 rankings? What are we doing?
Yeah, well, with long snappers, it's hard. I'm really probably just going to look at my list from at the end of the last season, see who all's gone and who has transferred where, and look at that. But with player rankings and coach rankings, I really try to take those seriously, because you guys see when I rank, let's say I put Devin Leary as the 5th best quarterback entering the season. And, 2-3 million people see this tweet, and you see, Devin's parents retweeting it, and, coaches retweeting it. So I try to make that serious. But today, when I did the best dressed coaches in college football,
I saw that one.
Lane Kiffin retweeted it today. There's some
that's what I was referring to.
Yeah. It's just, it's very, it's my opinion. I do get a lot of input from the, that network of Twitter people that I know, but yeah, it's fun. There's a seriousness of it, but then there's also a little troll side of it. It's just,
sure,
you guys see it. It spirals out of control, and it's just so much fun. Kind of just sit back and just watch it. Just.
Because I know too, when you were on with Gilio and Ovies on 99.9, one of the things that, and again, we'll talk a little bit about that here a little bit later, but, one of the things that you kind of mentioned is if people agree with, if people agree with the list, they're like, oh yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. But if they disagree, then it's yeah, no, it's just a troll, it's just clickbait kind of deal.
Yeah.
But like, what is your preference? Like, do you want people to take this seriously, or do you want it to be more of kind of like a, okay, cool, appreciate it kind of deal? Like, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I kind of like it with them taken seriously, because I'll say when I rank like players and coaches, I spend a lot of time on those. And you look at what like PFF or ESPN will put out. I mean, usually they tend to be like, when ESPN and like 247, when they start coming out with their stuff, you'll see that my rankings are probably pretty close to what they have.
Sure.
It's just fun. Because like I rank stuff that really can't be ranked, like most passionate fan bases in college football. I mean, there's no way to gauge that. So it's just kind of my opinion, and I just put it on a graphic, put it out there, and tons of people have a problem with it if it's wrong, and then tons of people have good things to say about it if it's right. So if they agree with it, so I mean, it's crazy, man, because it's like you do these lists, and then people send you, hey, Sports Illustrated wrote this article about your list, or USA Today wrote an article about your list, about where Michigan State's going to be in the bowl game this year. So it's crazy how I just literally went from just absolutely a no name on Twitter and have built up just this following over a year. And
so fast.
Right?
Yeah,
I didn't know it was only 2 years.
Yeah, it's less than a year. It'll be 2 years next February. So it's been wild. It's been fun, and can't wait for the season to start.
Good.
We're under 80 days.
Speaking of the fan base thing that you said, what do you think of State's fan base?
NC State's fan base?
I
think they're great.
I've always been interested in like your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think you guys have an SEC style fan base. Very, very passionate, very rabid fan base. You guys, I mean,
he's not wrong.
But that's kind of the SEC. Like guys kind of remind me of like, I don't know, like Arkansas East or something, with the passion and just kind of, I mean, if I tweet something about NC State, there is a ton of traction with it. And you don't see that a lot with schools in the ACC. So like you guys and like Texas Tech are very similar fan bases, where you're just really, really hungry for success, where it's like you've just been spinning the wheel, and that hunger for, doing something big, winning something big is just there. You can just kind of feel it with the fan base. So, I like NC State's fan base. I think we're on good terms right now.
Yeah. Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need, offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah, you mentioned like you have a lot of traction with our fan base. When I'm going through like all your either mentions or just the replies you get, there is at least, I would say, a half dozen on every post or every thread of State fans. And here's the thing. You can tell who our fans are because we put it in our description of our name.
Right.
Somebody be like, Jimmy from the South. You're like, okay, well, who does he root for? But like all of our guys and gals, like we put it in our title, in our name. But so you just came out with a top 100 players of all time. I don't know if that was. I think it was in the last couple of days. I don't remember which day it was.
Last Friday,
I think you had Torrey Holt at 95. Was it last Friday? Yeah,
most exciting players.
Yeah, I think you had Torrey Holt at like 95.
Yeah,
most exciting players. That's what it was. Yeah, my apologies for Torrey Holt at 95. I would have a bone to pick with that list.
A lot of
for your State player. Yeah,
that's a tough list. I will say that was a tough list.
100.
Who would you put?
It was.
Would you say Philip Rivers? Would you say Rivers should be on there?
No, I would go even further. I would go Ted Brown.
Ooh.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because just up to a few years ago, he was the ACC all-time leading rusher, and the only reason he's not the all-time leading rusher is his stats, his bowl game stats never counted.
Right.
And then ETN basically played a whole nother season with playoffs and bowls. So, and he was drafted a little higher than Torrey, I think. No, actually they're about the same. But go ahead, Leighton.
It's kind of like your list that Ovies gave you a hard time about, saying, that when you said NC State was overhyped, it's like, well, what does that mean, overhyped?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, you had a different definition for overhyped than he did, obviously. So same thing. It's like, when I think most exciting, I think Michael Vick first and foremost, because that dude was fun to watch on TV.
He was
like
number one.
Lamar Jackson. Those guys are fun to watch on, play. But yeah, I mean, like, I get what Greg is saying, but I mean, like, because like Torrey Holt, he was just a playmaker, man. He was a beast. And because a lot of it too is that you could say as well in terms of making the case of Torrey versus Ted, is that there's a lot more tape of Torrey making these ridiculous plays like he did in his Florida State, things like that, than really Ted Brown had, obviously, because of the era he played in. So it's like, it's kind of hard to say that he's exciting because, I mean, there's not really a lot that like fans like myself who didn't see him play, can really say about it, kind of deal. You know what I mean? But that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, no,
I'm just curious. Did you have Charlie Ward on that list?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't think I did. I know I had Peter Warwick on there in like the top 25. I think Charlie Ward. I think Charlie.
No,
Ward
I couldn't remember seeing
50.
Charlie.
But no, I had Torrey Holt on there.
Yeah.
And if you go back and watch some of the film from him, like, he's a man against boys with some of those deep, like, this backs that he's on. Like, it just, I mean, it looks like he's like 10 years older. Like, he's playing against Pop Warner guys. I mean, he just kind of threw DBs around. And, breakaway speed. I mean, he was just a freak. I mean,
and I think the kind of the fun thing is I mean, there are right and wrong answers, but there aren't wrong and right answers. And so I think that's, the whole point of what you're doing is just to get the conversation started, right? Just to kind of get people talking, get fan bases kind of giving each other mess. And I think that just makes it fun.
It makes it a lot more fun.
Here's the other thing. With so much junk on the Twitter world, with all the hate, like, you are nothing about that. And so it's a great outlet for people to just decompress from the real world and just kind of enjoy some sports for, a few minutes in their evening while they're scrolling through their Twitter feed.
I mean, that's the main reason I do it. Was there is a bunch of garbage on Twitter, and that's one of the reasons I did it. You get on, you just see all the crap that's on there, and I'm like, people are arguing about all this stuff. Let's all argue about sports. I think we can all agree that's fun to do. So that's a big reason why I started doing this. It's fun.
And it's the best during the off season because it gets us all excited for football season, everything coming up. I love looking at your list.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's fun.
So,
this time of year, people are thirsty for it.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Desperate.
For sure. Well, and and one funny thing too, which I still remember to this day, John, is back, it was probably summer last year. It was a while ago. You had actually reached out to us asking who our opinion was of the best breakfast place in the NC State area. and so Greg McKenzie, what would you guys say? I'm curious. Greg, did you see what we said? What would you guys say?
Yeah, I don't remember. I know Emilio's makes it for restaurants, but I don't remember the breakfast one.
Mackenzie, you have any idea?
Yeah, Emilio's is the Italian joint.
I always go to Flying Biscuit. That's where I go get my breakfast. See, but I'm pretty sure that's like anywhere. Yeah, I was about to say it's a chain.
And that's another thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I said Pam's Farmhouse because, first of all, it's ridiculously good food. It's good prices. There's a lot of NC State in it, and it's not a chain. Mm-hmm. So that's pretty much the reason why I was like that you have to do Pam's Farmhouse, and because like that's why I like to John, I think you might have asked me about the restaurant, and one of the reasons why I said Emilio's was, I mean, again, it's great food. It's obviously the best NC State environment probably college environment you've probably ever seen. Like there's NC State every single square inch. Like the urinal has NC State memorabilia on it, basically. And,
it's insane.
But like I guarantee you, if you put anybody else besides the Medios, that all NC State fans would be like, well, what about Medios? Like I just guarantee it.
Right.
So that's why I was like, I'm going to help John here.
The only one that comes maybe close.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the only one that maybe comes close to that's the players' retreat.
Oh
but that doesn't compare to a Medios for the atmosphere.
So with the players' retreat, I put the players' retreat as the best bar in Raleigh, and the local radio guys, I forget their name, but they gave me a very hard time about that, saying that that's like an old person bar, and so
well,
I don't know if I was wrong. Everyone's got their opinion.
They're not. I mean, yeah.
I'll drink anywhere.
I'm assuming you were. It was. Yeah. Right. I had another question about one of your rankings. You said easiest coaching jobs, and you had the other school a few miles down the road from us on that. What was your logic for that being an easy coaching place?
Because I think that UNC is more of a basketball first kind of school, as where I don't think the fan base, I consider UNC as kind of a wine and cheese kind of fan base, where they're not like NC
I love
State,
this man.
and very passionate. Like, I mean, you watch their football games. The stadium is hardly ever sold out.
Unless they're winning.
The student section. Well, I mean, they weren't even there last year. I guess they weren't good last year.
That's true.
But it's just, I don't think that they have the same kind of expectation that NC State fans have for their football team. So maybe it has to do with their basketball.
You're spot
success.
on, because when you remove 8,000 seats from your stadium, you're not relevant.
Period.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know if you knew that.
No, I did not know that.
But
yeah, I mean,
they wanted chair backs. They wanted to look pretty.
Yeah, it's a very uppity crowd that UNC is, and I've got some good friends that are UNC fans, so they're going to kick me for this, but that's just kind of how they are.
They'll be all right.
So yeah, they fit right into the ACC, whereas I think you guys are more SEC style of a fan base.
Yeah, well,
we're desperate.
Just because I think because we always say that it takes a certain person to be an NC State fan. That it's one of the hardest things to be an NC State fan. But the saying is that UNC is a Walmart fan, because you can go to any Walmart in the country and find UNC memorabilia for sale. But like to be an NC State fan, it's not like you just decide I live in California, I just want to be an NC State fan. Like, no, you have to be you just have to just be born into it, basically, and it's just a lifestyle that you just can't get rid of, kind of deal. Like, once you're in it, you can't get away from it. And it's mostly, I think, honestly, a lot of it is because the day that we win a football championship, men's basketball,
Raleigh's going to burn to the ground.
Oh,
Raleigh's going to burn to the ground.
I told my wife that there's going to be 2 days. There's going to be 2 days that are bigger for me than that day, and that's the day I got married and the day I have my kid or kids, whatever it is. But other than that day is going to be the best. I mean, again,
I got 2 kids. They're overrated.
Right?
but seriously though, I
worry for the state of North Carolina if State wins a national championship in anything,
or an ACC championship. Give me an ACC championship,
exactly.
I'll cry just as much. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I cried during the Clemson Carolina game. Ball my eyes out.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah,
me too.
Yeah.
The UNC game.
So
was
I
great.
have a non-Twitter related.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Greg knows.
Yeah.
So, I know. I will leave it at that. Just if you haven't Googled it, just Google NC State fan breaks leg. That's all you need to do. So
you broke your leg at the
goes
UNC
back to
game?
your passion of our fan.
That's passion right there. That is the definition of passion.
Or stupidity. I don't know. It depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask you a non-Twitter related question, and it kind of ties back to the NC State, ACC, and then your fandom with Oklahoma.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on Venables coming out there to coach and all the drama that led up to that?
Well, it caught everybody down out here in Oklahoma by major, huge surprise because everyone thought that Lincoln Riley was headed to LSU, and then he said the night that OU lost to Oklahoma State that he's not going to LSU. So everyone was like, "All right, that's under the rug." But then then the next day, he was honest. But the next day, at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, my phone just starts blowing up that Lincoln Riley's out of OU and he's headed to USC. And before you know it, the very next morning, in like the wee hours at like 4 o'clock in the morning, him and like the other assistant coaches that he brought with him and their families just hop on this private jet and get out of Norman, Oklahoma, and have never been back. It's crazy. But back to Venables. I mean, I think he's a great hire. He's turned down a bunch of different, head coaching opportunities, like he turned on Auburn a couple years ago, and I think K-State. But my only concern, like he's doing all the right things, very friendly with the media, recruiting, they need to step it up a little bit. But I've seen some really great coordinators that turned out to not be that you're like, oh, this guy's going to be a slam dunk once he's a head coach. And it doesn't pan out. Like Will Muschamp, for example, incredible.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Coordinator at Texas. Yeah. And what did he do at Florida and
Charlie Strong,
South Carolina? Yeah, Charlie Strong. But then you've also got so those guys just did terrible as great coordinators, but didn't pan out to be head coaches. But then you've got like a Kirby Smart that is defensive coordinator at Alabama, and look at the success he's having at Georgia. So I've asked, like, is Venables going to be a Kirby Smart or is he going to be a Will Muschamp? And that waits to be seen. We got to see how they do on the field.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we all have to cut it there so for part one. But again, make sure if you haven't already, again, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and give us a follow. Tuffy Talk Now. John, wanted to kind of give you an opportunity. I mean, obviously, I can almost guarantee that pretty much most of the people tuning in for us are already following you on Twitter and Instagram. But one thing I want to talk about is your YouTube channel. That you actually have a YouTube channel. You've done some interviews and stuff like that. So do you want to kind of add that in right now as well?
Sure. Well, yeah. And also, y'all make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm subscribed to these guys. They do a great job repping NC State. I started this YouTube channel, and doing this is like a whole different beast. So I've only had like 14 episodes, but like I've had players and coaches on just to try and build up some backlog of stuff. Like I had Shane Beamer on the show. So it's just kind of something I'm working on, kind of on the side. But yeah, it's the Big Game Boomer Show. If you want to subscribe to these guys first, and then maybe check out my page. I'm going to try and get some people on there, some big names. For sure.
Sounds good. Yeah. Well, again, make sure to tune in with us for part two as we continue this conversation and talk more about NC State football and his bold prediction that we got to give him mad props for. So we'll see y'all for part two. And always, go Pack, y'all.